Hello and welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Codo, aka Codo Man. Well, since Sunday, April 25th was the 93rd Academy Awards, I might as well talk about it because we do got a lot of winners here, or should I say, winners from movies that we have not really heard or known about. I mean, a lot of people totally forgot that the Academy Awards was Sunday, April 25th. And, it's fine. Hey, I often forget too. I often forget, but somehow for reasons because, the everything that is going on. I mean, that is definitely true. Yeah. So anyway, the 93rd Academy Awards ceremony was presented by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, honored the best films of 2020 and early 2021. And it took place in Los Angeles at both Union Station and the Dolby Theater on April 25th, 2021. And 2 months later than planned due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on cinema, nominations have been announced on March 15th, 2021, which was this year. Now, just to give a little background, the films that won, Nomadland won 3 awards, the most of the night, including Best Picture. The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Soul, and Sound of Metal won 2 awards each. Another round, Colette, If Anything Happens, I Love You, Minari, My Octopus Teacher, Promising Young Woman, Tenet, and Two Distant Strangers won 1 award each. Now, this was the first time the ceremony since the 78th Academy Awards in 2006 that no film won more than 3 awards. And the first time since the 44th Academy Awards in 1972 when the show ended with an Academy Honorary Award to Charlie Chaplin, that the ceremony did not end with the award for Best Picture. It ended with Best Actress and Best Actor. So this year was a little different for the Oscars, like where it did not end with Best Picture. It ended with Best Actress and Best Actor. And I don't know the reason why, but I think one of the main reasons why they wanted to end with Best Actress and Best Actor was because of many people thought that the Academy did this because of Chadwick Boseman. And that could be a huge surprise and a huge prediction from many people who watch the Academy Awards, or the 93rd Oscars, I should say. So, as I mentioned, the nominees for the 93rd Academy Awards were announced live on March 15th, 2021, in a global live stream. And at 83 years old, Anthony Hopkins became the oldest winner in an acting category. Frances McDormand became the 7th person to win a 3rd acting Oscar with her Best Actress win from Nomadland, and the 2nd to win Best Actress 3 times. The film also won Best Director for Chloe Zhao, who became the first woman of color to be awarded Best Director, and the only second woman after Catherine Bigelow, who won in 2010 for The Hurt Locker. So anyway, I'm about to dive into the winners of the 93rd Academy Awards, so let me dive into it. So anyway, spoiler alerts for those who have not seen the 93rd Academy Awards on Sunday. So I'm going to list out the winners right here. Okay, so normally Best Picture comes at the end, but I'll announce that at the end. So basically, I'm going to start off with Best Actor. So for Best Actor, the winner for Best Actor at the 93rd Academy Awards was Anthony Hopkins for The Father. Now, this was one of the most biggest surprises to come out of this year's Oscars because many people predicted that Chadwick Boseman will win Best Actor for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom as Levi Green. Now, this was a prediction that I actually had rolling in my mind because Chadwick Boseman passed away back in 2020. Back in 2020, and oh man, what when in 2020 was it? Yeah, August 28th, 2020. That was when he passed away due to colon cancer, and many people predicted that he would win posthumously for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And that was probably one of the reasons why maybe the Academy decided to end the award ceremony for Best Actor. But somehow many people didn't realize that Anthony Hopkins will win Best Actor. Now, to be fair, I will say this. Chadwick Boseman was definitely going up against Hollywood giants like Anthony Hopkins. Gary Oldman was also nominated this year as well. Who is another great actor, a Hollywood acting giant, and he also won for the Darkest Hour back in 2017. And Gary Oldman was nominated for Mank as Herman J. Mankiewicz. And on top of that, other actors include Riz Ahmed as Reuben Stone from Sound of Metal and Stephen Yeun from Minari as Jacob Yi. So technically, there was a lot of competition especially with Anthony Hopkins and Gary Oldman. I mean, I say Chadwick Boseman's performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was great. I say his performance was great, although with Anthony Hopkins as the father, it's definitely a tough competition to come for, and it's understandable too. I mean, hey, not everybody can win. I mean, there has been posthumous awards for Best Actor, which also includes Peter Finch and Heath Ledger, and the most recent one was Heath Ledger, who won the posthumous Best Supporting Actor for The Joker in 2008's The Dark Knight. And it's a tough competition, and I feel like it's a top competition, I should say. And hey, I respect both Anthony Hopkins and Chadwick Boseman, even though there can only be one winner. But hey, I'm just gonna say this: I say both actors, Chadwick Boseman and Anthony Hopkins, I say both of them are winners. Even Anthony Hopkins did not appear at the 93rd Academy Awards, although he did an acceptance speech in his home country of Wales, of how he couldn't believe it either. I mean, even at 83 years old for Anthony Hopkins, and that's actually how old he is. And basically, going back to what I mentioned about the Best Picture and Best Actor, in a break with tradition, the lead acting categories were presented last after the awarding of Best Picture. This led many viewers to believe that the ceremony's producers were anticipating Chadwick Boseman. As I mentioned, yeah, that was the thing. Many people would believe that Chadwick Boseman will win posthumously to win Best Actor, and which could have been accompanied by a tribute to the actor. I mean, Anthony Hopkins, who was not in attendance, was instead announced as the winner. I mean, Anthony Hopkins would have appeared via Zoom as he did not want to travel to designated location, but somehow was denied by the producers. But he did release a video the following day accepting the award, as well as paying tribute to Chadwick Boseman. He also stated that, among many other things, he was very privileged. He was, and I quote, "very privileged and honored," while acknowledging that, and I quote, "I really did not expect this." You know what? I wouldn't expect it either, and I think Anthony Hopkins brings up a good point. But I really do love how he also acknowledges Chadwick Boseman. I mean, he definitely pays a very good tribute to Chadwick Boseman. I mean, in all honesty, both Anthony Hopkins and Chadwick Boseman were both in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So hey, one Marvel Cinematic Universe actor to another. And I will definitely say this. That was a very good dedication from Anthony Hopkins to Chadwick Boseman. I will definitely say that. Okay, moving on to Best Actress. Best Actress winner was Frances McDormand for Nomadland as Fern. And she was going up against Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom as Ma Rainey, Andra Day for the United States versus Billie Holiday as Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman as Martha Weiss, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman as Cassandra Cassie Thomas. Now, moving on to Best Supporting Actor, the winner for Best Supporting Actor went to Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah as Fred Hampton, and he was going up against Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah as William Bill O'Neill. So I guess Lakeith and Danielle were both nominated for Best Supporting Actor in the same film. And this won't be the only time where a film was nominated in the same category too. So this isn't the first time, folks. Now, moving on to Best Supporting Actress, Yeon Young Jung won Best Supporting Actress for Minari as Soon-ja, and she was going up against Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, and Amanda Seyfried for Mank. Moving on to Best Original Screenplay. Now, the winner for that category went to Promising Young Woman, and it was written by Emerald Fennell, who also directed Promising Young Woman. And Emerald Fennell was going up against screenwriter Will Burson and Shaka King with a story by Burson, King, Keith Lucas, and Kenny Lucas for Judas and the Black Messiah. This also goes for Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Abraham Martyr and Darius Martyr with the story by Derek Cianfrance and D. Martyr for Sound of Metal. And this also includes The Trial of the Chicago 7 by Aaron Sorkin. Those films were going up against, should I say the other way around? Promising Young Woman had a huge competition with Trial of the Chicago 7, Sound of Metal, Minari, and Judas and the Black Messiah. So basically, for the winner of that category went to Promising Young Woman. Now, for Best Adapted Screenplay, The Father won Best Adapted Screenplay for the Oscar, and it was going up against Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat's subsequent film, including Chloe Zhao for Nomadland and Kemp Powers, based on his play, for One Night in Miami. This also includes The White Tiger as well. So basically, Best Adapted Screenplay went to The Father, which was written by Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller, which was also based on the play by Florian Zeller. Now, moving on to Best Animated Feature Film, Soul, Disney Pixar's Soul won for Best Animated Feature Film, and Pete Docter and Dana Murray were the ones who won the award for Soul. Now, that film was going up against Onward, another Pixar film, which was directed by Dan Scallion with Corey Ray, Over the Moon, Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, and Wolfwalkers. So basically, Onward was another nomination that was put in. Shaun the Sheep the movie, Farmageddon, which is the sequel to the other Shaun the Sheep movie that came out a while back. So yeah. Wolfwalkers was an interesting film. Now, I haven't seen Wolfwalkers, but I thought it was a film that definitely would win, but I feel like Soul deserved the award because it actually told a pretty good story, and it had some it was pretty good. I definitely will say that. But Soul was actually a pretty good film. I will admit that. So moving on to Best International Feature Film. Now, the winner for that is another round, Denmark, in Danish, directed by Thomas Vinterberg. And that film was going up against other international feature films, which includes Better Days, Hong Kong and Mandarin, Collective, Romania and Romanian, The Man Who Sold His Skin in Arabic, and Qual Vadis Adia in Bosnian. So the winner for that one went to another round, Denmark in Danish, which was directed by Thomas Vinterberg for Best International Feature Film. Moving on to Best Documentary Feature Film, the winner for that category went to My Octopus Teacher, which went to Pippa Ederlich, Craig Foster, and James Reed. And that documentary feature was going up against Collective, Crip Camp, The Mole Agent, and Time. So the winner for Best Documentary Feature went to My Octopus Teacher. Now the category for Best Documentary Short Subject went to Colette, and the winners for those were Alice Dollard and Anthony Giacchino. And that short documentary went up against A Concerto is a Conversation, A Do Not Split, Hunger Ward, and A Love Song for Latasha. Moving on to Best Live Action Short Film, Two Distant Strangers won for Best Live Action Short Film, which also includes Travin Free and Martin Desmond Rowe, who won the award for Two Distant Strangers in Best Live Action Short Film. And that film was going up against Feeling Through, The Letter Room, The Present, and White Eye. For Best Animated Short Film, If Anything Happens, I Love You, Michael Govier and Will McCormick won for Best Animated Short Film, and it was going up against Burrow, Genius Loci, Opera, and Yes People. Now, moving forward to Best Original Song, the winner for that one went to Soul. Composers Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste. And they were going up against The Five Bloods, Terrence Blanchard, Mank, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross, Minari, Amin Masari, and News of the World, James Newton Howard. Now, what really got me the most for Best Original Score was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. They were both nominated in the same category for two different films. So two different films. That's two different films, folks. Plus, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross also won the Oscar for Best Original Score in The Social Network, which also came out. I believe it was. I gotta say it was 2010. I believe, was it? Yes, it was 2010. The Social Network, which was directed by David Finch, by the way. And fun fact, David Finch directed Mank, and Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross also composed the score for Mank. So technically, they got a second nomination for Best Original Score for Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. So two different films in the same Best Original Score category. Although this does beg the question for me. How come Tenet wasn't nominated for Best Original Score? I mean, I think Ludwig Göransson would have deserved a nomination for Best Original Score in Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Is it just me? Probably. I mean, I'm just saying. Hey, at least I gotta admit, Soul does have a very good score. So, congratulations to Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste. Now, moving on to Best Original Song. The winner for that category went to Fight For You from Judas and the Black Messiah. Music by Demille and Her. Lyrics by Her and Tiara Thomas. Now, that song was going up against Hear My Voice from the Trial of the Chicago 7, which was written by Daniel Pemberton, with lyrics by Daniel Pemberton and Celeste Hazovic from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, which was written by Rickard Gorason, Fat Max Zeus, and Savan Kotecha. Now, The Life Ahead was also nominated with Scene, the title of the song, Scene, from The Life Ahead, and that was written by Diane Warren with lyrics by Laura Pausini. Speak Now from One Night in Miami was also nominated for Best Original Song, and it was written by Sam Ashworth and Leslie Odom Jr. So Leslie Odom Jr. got two Oscar nominations, one for Best Original Song and one for What was it? Best Supporting Actor? I'm gonna have to guess it was Best Supporting Actor. Yes, it was. Yes, it was Best Supporting Actor for One Night in Miami as Sam Cooke. So Leslie Odom Jr. got 2 nominations in 2 different categories. But the winner for that one went to Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. Moving forward to Best Sound. And in case you guys are wondering, now this is going to be a little confusing for this one because normally there were actually two sound categories for this. I think it was Best Sound Mixing and Best Sound Editing because for some reason this was changed. And I think this was planned ahead of time for some reason. So yeah, this was definitely different for sound. I mean, this was definitely sound because this was brought up in April 28th, 2020. The Academy voted to consolidated the Best Sound Mixing and Best Sound Editing category into a single Best Sound category, reducing the total number of categories to 23. The sound branch had raised concerns that the 2 categories had too much overlap in scope. The rules for Best Original Score now require that that a film's score include a minimum of 60% original music, and the franchise films and sequels must have a minimum of 80% new music. So this is basically the first time preliminary voting for Best International. So actually, no, that was basically it. So yeah. Well, actually going to Best International Film now, which I already mentioned. For the first time, preliminary voting for Best International Film was also open to all voting members of the Academy. So instead of Best Sound Mixing and Best Sound Editing, we get Best Sound. So the winner for Best Sound went to Sound of Metal by Jamie, which has the winners Jamie Baksh, Nicholas Becker, Philip Blod, Carlos Cortez, and Michelle Kotolenk. And that's for Best Sound in Sound of Metal. Now, that film was going up against other films that are nominated in this category: Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, and Soul. So basically, the winner for Best Sound went to Sound of Metal. Now, moving on to production design. The winner, for production design went to Mank. Production design by Donald Graham Burt. Set decoration by Jan Pascal. And that film was going up against The Father. Production design by Peter Francis. Set decoration by Kathy Featherstone. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Production design by Mark Ricker. Set decoration by Karen O'Hara and Diana Stoughton. News of the World, production design, David Crank, set decoration, Elizabeth Kean, and Tenet, production design, Nathan Crawley, set decoration, Kathy Lucas. So the winner for Best Production Design went to Mank. Now, Best Cinematography also went to Mank, and that went to Eric Messerschmidt. Eric Messerschmidt won for Best Cinematography for Mank, and that was going up against Sean Bobbitt for Judas and the Black Messiah, Darius Walsky for News of the World, Joshua James Richards for Nomadland, and Feldon Papamichael for The Trial of Chicago 7. So the winner for Best Cinematography went to Eric Messerschmidt for Mank. Now, moving on to Best Makeup and Hairstyling. The winner for Best Makeup and Hairstyling for the Oscars went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And that went to Sergio Lopez Rivera, Mia Neal, and Jamaica Wilson. And that film went up against Emma, and the makeup artists for Emma were Laura Allen, Maurice Langen, and Claudia Stolz. And this also includes Hillbilly Elegy for Patricia Dennehy, Aaron Kruger McCosh, and Matthew W. Mungle. For Mank, Colleen LaBeouf, Kimberly Spiteri, and Gigi Williams. And surprisingly for Pinocchio, not Disney's Pinocchio, but a different Pinocchio film, Dalia Kali, Mark Collier, and Francesco Pegariti. So the winner for Best Makeup and Hairstyling went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. For Best Costume Design, the winner for that category went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anne Roth, for costume design. And that film was going up against Emma, which costume designer for was Alexander Byrne, Mink, Trish Somerville. The 2020 live action Disney's live action Mulan film, Bina Dagler, and the Pinocchio film by Massimo Cantini Parini. So the winner for Best Costume Design went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anne Roth. For Best Film Editing, Sound of Metal won for Best Film Editing, and the film editor for Sound of Metal went to Mikhail E.G. Nielsen. And that film was going up against The Father for Yorgos Lanthimos, Nomadland, Chloe Zhao, Promising Young Woman, Frederick Thorvald, and The Trial of the Chicago 7, Alan Baumgarten. So the winner for Best Film Editing went to Sound of Metal. For Best Visual Effects, the winner for Best Visual Effects went to Christopher Nolan's Tenet. And the visual effects were made by Scott R. Fisher, Andrew Jackson, David Lee, and Andrew Lockley. And Tenet was going up against Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, the Disney live action of Mulan, and the one and only Ivan. So yes, Tenet won the award for Best Visual Effects. Congratulations to Tenet. Okay, now moving forward to Best Director and Best Picture. So for Best Director, the nominees were Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round, David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. And the winner for Best Director went to Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Now moving on to Best Picture. Nomadland, The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. And the winner for Best Picture went to Nomadland. Molly Ashner, Dan Janvey, Frances McDormand, Peter Spears, and Chloe Zhao won Best Picture for Nomadland. So, yep, that is it. These are the winners of the 93rd Academy Awards. And for what we got, Nomadland won 3 Academy Awards. The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Soul, and Sound of Metal won 2 Academy Awards. So congratulations to those films. And somehow, normally we will get Governor Awards, but the Academy canceled the Governor Awards due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So this marked the first year of Governor Awards in which there has not been any official winners of the Academy Honorary Award. However, Tyler Perry won the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award. So that's actually pretty good. So they still had the Humanitarian Award, and that went to Tyler Perry. So congratulations to our winners of the 93rd Academy Awards. So yes. So what did you guys think of the 93rd Academy Awards? Did you thought it was okay? I mean, would it have been a little different? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Or have you watched the 93rd Academy Awards? I'm pretty sure a lot of people have not, and you know what? That is okay, because this has been a very, very tough year for everybody, especially awards seasons too. Especially with viewings and ratings as well, because they did dip down in quality too. So, yep, I know it's pretty tough, but you know, there's always next year too, and I hope next year's awards will be at least better. So, yep. So anyway, thank you for tuning in to Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo. Remember to watch movies and stay positive.